This lesson is Creating HTML5 Forms. In this lesson, you'll learn about the benefits of the new HTML5 form features, and you'll add a few of the new input types to your page. Additionally, you'll take a look at a method that will allow maximum compatibility for browsers that do not support the HTML5 form elements. To get started, I'm working with this lesson file, 07 contact form work.html. This lesson file is located in your lesson folder, although I've done some of the styling in the exercise already. There are, however, no HTML form elements in this page yet. So let's take a look at our code and add some. In the text editor, let's take a look at this line here. This is the line in the form for the first name field. Specifically, we can see there's an input type equals text piece of code. The input type text is something you're probably used to if you've built HTML forms in the past. Let's go ahead and add a few new ones. In the third line here, for the email section of the form, we'll go ahead and add the following. Type equals email. Additionally, in the next line, we can add another type for the website, or type equals URL. Let's go ahead and save our page, and let's look at this in the browser. Well, there is no change in the browser, and that's exactly what's supposed to happen in this case. In the future, these new input types could be used to allow data to be sent automatically to a specific database. In other words, when the form is received, it can automatically sort the type email or URL and do something special with it. Most browsers at this point, however, won't do anything visually different. Although, if you're using a mobile browser, such as the iPhone's browser, you actually will see a change, and we discussed a little bit of this in the book. For now, though, let's take a look at some form elements that do create a change on the page. I'll go back to my line for the first name, and I'll add a placeholder attribute. So here we see placeholder equals enter your first name. Let's go ahead and save this and take a look at it in the browser. I'll reload my page, and here we can see the placeholder. Now before HTML5, if we wanted to do something like this, we would have to use a JavaScript solution. Let's go ahead and take a look at another new HTML5 attribute, and this is the required field. I'll go back to my code, and again, just for the first line here, I'll simply type required. Again, save the file. Let's go back to our browser, reload the page, and then I'll press go in an attempt to submit this page. I'm going to get a prompt here that says, please fill out this field. So again, before HTML5, we would have to add JavaScript in order to make this work. With HTML5, we now have this as part of the syntax or the language. Let's go ahead and type in the name, and then press go. So there you have it. So both of these, the placeholder as well as the required fields, replace traditional solutions often created in JavaScript. So what about those browsers that don't support HTML5? What if we want the placeholder text, or perhaps more importantly, we want the required field? Well, we're going to have to use a traditional JavaScript solution. Now again, we cover this a little bit in the book, and I'm going to look at this briefly here in the video. However, I'm not going to go through the full steps involved, just enough to show you the concept. If I scroll to the top of this page, you can see this line here. So this line is pointing to an external JavaScript file from the Modernizer website. I'm now going to add some more code here. And again, I'm going to keep things relatively simple. Here we can see a JavaScript function that uses the Modernizer detection code to test whether the user's browser supports the HTML5 placeholder attribute in this case. Of course, we could have added another line to see if it supported the HTML5 required attribute. So if the user's browser does support the placeholder attribute, it will be used. If it doesn't support the attribute, it uses a specific JavaScript library called h5f. This library will then use the traditional JavaScript feature in order to create the placeholder attribute. This is a great solution because this JavaScript code is only downloaded if or when the user needs it. So again, just to see how this works, I'm going to click Save. And this time I'm going to open up Internet Explorer 8. I'm going to browse to my page, click OK, allow the black content, and here we can see that placeholder text. So again, just to make it clear, That placeholder text that we saw there is not being created by HTML5 because Internet Explorer doesn't support HTML5 form features. This is using the traditional JavaScript solution. But here we have the best of both worlds. HTML5 browsers will use the HTML5 placeholder attribute, and browsers that don't support it will use the JavaScript solution.